Hello and welcome to Riverfront Territory, a show on the Foul Territory Network. I am one of your hosts, Trent Rosecrans. I'm a longtime beat writer covering the Reds, most recently of The Athletic. Now, my co-host is a man who was a 2006 non-roster invitee to Cleveland's camp and made the squad, Mr. Danny Graves.
I don't know how I made that squad because I was terrible.
Sparkling personality.
Yeah, the spring
Clubhouse
training
presence.
that might be what it was. But then once I made the team, it was downhill from there.
Right. Like once the rubber met the road and you had to perform.
Yeah. Once the bright lights came on, just didn't do so well. I got a couple vulture wins though. Like I just
They're on that baseball reference page.
Yeah.
A vulture win in arbitration is the same as a CG, you know?
Yeah, and unfortunately, I didn't go to arbitration again, so I couldn't use those two wins. But
but those two wins will forever live in your heart.
Yeah, that's right. I'll never forget them.
So the reason I brought that up is, the Reds kind of made some announcements about their dates for spring training, but kind of wanted to look at some of the non-roster invitees. We've gotten the roster, the 40-man. But these non-roster invites, this is always a big part. I mean, these are mostly gambles. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. But there's a guy that we kind of want to look at each. Danny's got one guy he kind of picked out, and I have one guy that I picked out. And, when we start off, like, most of these guys, for an NRI, basically you signed a minor league deal. I mean, yeah. Danny, when you sign an NRI, like, it's almost, you're not getting a big league deal. Everybody's kind of said, hey, we like you and all, but we can't guarantee you a spot. Is that pretty much how it goes? And then what do you do as someone who has several invites or whatever when you were in that situation in 2006 and you signed with Cleveland?
Yeah, so you really said it perfectly. The non-roster invitees, somebody that says you're probably not going to make the team, but if you do well and you show some stuff in spring training, then we'll take a chance on keeping you. And as far as like older guys, veteran guys, like at the time myself, Steve Carsey was another guy that was in camp that year, and it was just trying to find. They wanted to keep one extra veteran right-hander. That was good. I like that.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that was good, but it was something.
They wanted to keep a right-handed reliever, a veteran guy, and it was basically between the two of us, whoever had better spring training at the time. And if somebody went down that was supposed to be in their bullpen, then they would be able to keep both of us. So fortunately, I ended up making the team that year. Now, with the younger guys that get these non-roster invitees, sometimes it's because you need extra arms in spring training. Obviously they can bring up some minor league guys to pitch in the big league game during spring training, but you kind of reward these guys for having decent years prior, and you bring them into camp and kind of give them that feel of big league camp for a week or 2 weeks, however long they decide to keep them. Sometimes they keep extra utility guys for that purpose of, these spring training games are long. You don't let your starters go too long, mostly. And then catchers get a lot of non-roster invites because they kind of get the brunt of it. They work harder than anybody in spring training. These bullpen catchers they're not bullpen catchers, but they catch bullpens all the time in spring training and very rarely get in any games.
It's funny you mention that because that's always, like, I always kind of first couple days of spring, I will introduce myself to new catchers because I love talking to catchers. They're my favorite. And I'll usually start with, so when I run for commissioner, my first campaign issue that I'm going to run on is I believe, and I just don't think this is too extreme, I believe that every catcher in spring training should get double meal money. Because you
Agreed.
don't get paid like your salary in spring training. You only get meal money. So to make it worth it, to make it worth it for everyone, it's kind of it's the way you can reward somebody. You give them double meal money, and because those guys come in early, they're the first to get there and the last to leave, and that's just because that's the way it has to be. Because to do pitchers, every pitcher needs a catcher, and then as a catcher, you also have to work on your game, your offense, your base running, all the other things. So, like pitchers and catchers, and then catchers and position players.
Yeah, you're still going to go play somewhere, even though you're just there to catch bullpens, and you have to find time to get that extra work in. It's awful. It's an awful thing, and guys like Will Banfield that's getting this big league invite, he knows he's not going to make the team unless there's a bunch of injuries ahead of him. But right now he's the fourth catcher. Nobody is going to keep four catchers. He knows what his job is. And I agree with that. The double meal money, triple meal money, whatever it is. I think.
Oh, so you're trying to outdo me now. I see how it is.
No,
you're usurping my campaign by you want double, I'll give you triple.
Well, you left me on the camera by myself, so I was going to ask for double meal money for a while there too. But
that's fair. You will get double. I will give you triple. Because 3 times 0 is 0.
I'll take that. I was gonna just put an exclamation point on your comment that yes, double whatever it is, they deserve to have more than what everybody else is getting.
There you go. In our opinion. So all right. Well, we will be back with more of our opinions after this message.
Hey, make good eats at home part of your 2026 New Year's resolution. HelloFresh is what we're talking about here.
Steak, seafood, whatever options you want. They have stone fruit to corn on the cob. Scott, I know you're a big stone fruit fan. But
hey, you've eaten it all.
I have. I've tried a lot of things, but HelloFresh always delivers. They're fresh, delicious meals that you get to cook. So you feel like you actually accomplished something when you eat them after you're done cooking them.
Over 100 mouth-watering recipes each week. It's made with wholesome ingredients like 100% antibiotic and hormone-free chicken, because when dinner tastes this good, nothing hits like home cooking. Go to HelloFresh.com/FT10FM to get 10 free meals plus a free Zwilling knife, a $144.99 value on your third box. Offer valid while supplies last. Free meals applied as discount on first box. New subscribers only, varies by plan. Get America's #1 meal kit, HelloFresh.
All right, so there we are, spring training. I guess it is. Were you an NRI ever as a younger player?
Yes, 1996. So 95
was
my first year. What's that?
I'm just thinking who you're walking into that clubhouse.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a great expression. Oh man, what is happening? Why am I here?
So you're what, your second year of pro ball?
Yeah, I just finished one full season of pro ball and got a big league invite. I was minor league pitcher of the year, 95. So I went single A, double A, triple A, and then I got the invite with absolutely no chance of making the team. I was number 69. So I knew that there was no chance of making the team, but I also knew that this team had just been in the World Series a year prior, and they didn't really need any extra arms. But the organization, rewarded me on having a good year and brought me to camp, and it was definitely an eye opener. It was just an awe kind of experience for me, all the players that were there.
When you have one of those high numbers, are you just kind of okay, I'm going to sit back and observe and spoke when spoken to?
Yes. So I remember Charles Nagy was he was their #1 starter at that time. Mm-hmm. And he had told me in a polite way, he wasn't being rude about it, but he's young guys, when you come in, you need to be seen and not heard. And I never forgot that. as vocal as I am, and I have been for quite some time, those first few years though, like you learn, like you just do your work, you go out there and you play when you're told to play and do what you need to do without saying a lot of stuff. Let people notice who you are by what they see you doing. So
interesting.
Yeah. And it stuck with me. Yeah.
So yeah, and like, man, just go through some of the names on that clubhouse that you walk in on.
So Kenny Lofton, Albert Bell, Carlos Baerga, Omar Vizquel, Eddie Murray, Manny Ramirez, let's see, Sandy Alomar Jr., Tony Pena, who I watched as a 10-year-old catching in the big leagues. Like,
and we all we all stuck our leg out like that.
Didn't we? And we all thought could do it too. And it hurt, but we all thought we were Tony Pena. And I remember seeing him, and I'm like, I cannot wait for him to throw the ball back to me, because that was Tony's thing. He would fire it back at the pitcher so hard, it'd be like, oh my gosh, what's wrong with him? But I could not wait for it. And I did have my major league debut with Tony Pena too, which was
really
so cool. Yes. Yeah, it was pretty amazing. Dennis Martinez was there. Oral Hershiser was there. Jose Mesa, Joe Table. Yeah, it was. I mean, this team, like Jim Thome, I can't believe I forgot Tome Dome. Kevin Seitzer.
Yeah.
So many. I know you love Kevin Seitzer.
I did.
Royal.
Yeah, number 33. Moved short spread from third base to first base.
Yeah. And so when I was there, Jim Thome was still a third baseman. He didn't become a first baseman until 97, and then Matt Williams came over. So pretty special, man. Like,
I mean, I think you've got everything in there. Like, every experience in baseball in there.
Yes.
Guys who, well, I mean, like when you kind of bring up the names, and Manny Ramirez is the second, like, person that you go, whoa, you got to have some stories. And he's number 2. That tells you all you need to know about one Albert, don't call me Joey Bell. Like, Albert Bell. Like, okay, so I don't know how many of our listeners, like, remember Albert Bell, but he was just an unbelievable player. And
yes.
He was his own guy and took nothing from nobody. What's it like to be 23, walk in, hey, I'm a top draft pick, and see Albert Bell?
So very intimidating, to say the least. Just walking by Albert, you almost just want to make sure that you only say hi and don't say anything like to make him mad. But he was completely the opposite of what I expected. Now, I know that he's had run-ins with other people and didn't really talk to the media a lot and just looked angry all the time. I had a good relationship with Albert. He was great with me. He was always smiling whenever I would talk to him. And maybe it's just because I looked like I was 12 back then and he didn't want to like get mad at a little 12-year-old, whatever it was. We had a good relationship, and it was so good that the next year in 97, he'd gone to the Orioles, and we were taking BP, getting ready for interleague, because that's when interleague started in 97.
Right. Yeah.
So none of the American League pitchers would ever take BP. So we were taking BP at Jacobs Field in Cleveland. Albert was in the other dugout waiting for somebody to talk to. So I hit one over the fence. I hit a homer, and I turned around and looked at Albert, and I just kind of gave him one of these. And because that was his little thing that he did from the dugout with Cleveland, and he just laughed. He laughed so hard at me. Now, obviously, if I didn't have a decent relationship with him, I wouldn't have done that, because I probably would have got my head ripped off. But I thought he was great. Julio Franco was another guy that was
oh my God,
I forgot to mention. Yeah. Yep.
Those Cleveland teams were just stacked.
Unbelievably stacked.
It's like, how did they lose? Oh, wait, let's go through the rotation that they faced in the World Series in 95.
Exactly. Exactly. So Jeff Kent was also on that team.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So I'm
Another
looking at the
guy
list now.
that you noted is a big fan of Danny Graves.
Yeah.
Hall of
yeah,
Famer Jeff Kent.
Yep. Blackjack McDowell, dude,
Oh yeah.
in his heyday. Yeah. So it was a special team.
But like, okay, so Charles Nagy tells you, hey, listen, don't talk, or keep your mouth shut. What do you remember? Like, what do you remember like picking up in that first camp as that guy?
Don't hang out in the training room, and because that's where a lot of people just kind of navigate, because I love trainers. Like, I always hung out with trainers.
Yeah.
I always talked to them and loved just being around them, and just kind of like watching things happen, because standing in the locker room, it's kind of creepy that if you just sit there and stare and look at everybody and like, it's just weird. But in the training room, you kind of have conversations and you see people come in and out. Well, I remember being told that you shouldn't be in the training room because this is not where you're going to make the team. And I'm like, oh, well, but I'm not getting any treatment. It doesn't matter.
Right, you're in there.
Young kids have no business being in the training room. So,
yeah, it's the you can't make the club in the tub.
Right.
So,
right.
That's the old saying.
But at the same time, I got to watch Eddie Murray prepare for games, which
Oral
not many people could say.
Hershiser, Dennis
Yeah.
Martinez. I mean, like, and so then, did you on the other end? You were on the other end. Did you notice some guys, or did you like talk to maybe some rookies or young guys in their first camp? Now that you're 2006, guy with a name.
Yeah. So actually, the one guy, like, I went into, like, yes, if I needed to help somebody or somebody wanted advice, I would be there. But I went in with the mindset of, I need to try to make this team, and I need to go in and worry about me and nobody else. But we get to spring training, and a young Jeremy Guthrie is lockered right next to me. And we just became very close, like, throughout the whole spring training. We both got sent to AAA. Eventually, I made the team, but then I got sent to AAA. And he had just got called up like a week or two before that, or something like that. But we both cried when I got designated for assignment, getting sent back to AAA. But we got pretty close, and I just was trying to help him out with life lessons and try to tell him, whatever I knew about being a big leaguer. He ended up playing for probably like 15 years. And I'm not saying because I taught him anything. I'm just saying that's the one guy I can think of that I really, we hovered around each other as much as possible in that spring training in 2006.
That's cool. Are there guys you just like instinctively know, or like gonna take this the right way and do the right things, or I guess you just notice it, right? And the guys who are, if you're an early shagging or BP or whatever, those guys are there too, and that's how it kind of works, right?
Yeah, you can kind of see. You could tell. Like, you could almost go into it, not even talk to anybody, and who's interested in hearing your advice or who wants nothing to do with hearing your advice.
Gotcha.
And those, yeah, like it. You can tell, and you stay away and let them make their own bed.
Yeah. All right, so we're going to go through a couple of these. There were 9 non-roster invitees mentioned or added to the roster officially. When the February 9th Reds pitchers and catchers report, as do any position players who are playing in the WBC. First workout is the 11th. Position players report the 14th. First full workout the 16th. And then the 3rd is the first game, which, like Danny, like I think you were still around my first spring training. It used to be a lot longer before games, right?
Yeah, I felt like pitchers had just over 2 weeks before games started. So
Okay.
I would show up right around Valentine's Day. So it would vary, obviously. Sometimes the 16th, sometimes the 18th. But I would, like, think Valentine's Day is the day to go, because at that time, me and my ex-wife didn't like each other anyway, so I couldn't wait to leave. But so, and back then, games didn't start until, March 1st or March 2nd. So you were there for a couple weeks just doing the same thing, PFPs and getting bullpens in and conditioning and same old thing every day.
Yeah, I think actually pitchers are still kind of there the same, and then position players come in sooner than they used to. Because it felt like you guys were around just by yourselves for a long time.
For like a week.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. And what's the time frame now? It's a lot shorter?
It's not that much further. Actually, the first there's 5 days between the first workout for pitchers and the first full squad workout. So
Okay.
All right. Well, and then we're going to go down TJ Antone. We talked about TJ last episode. Everybody knows TJ. Everybody's rooting for him. If he looks good, it's very possible he could make it. There's always an NRI guy or two that makes the squad. It feels like so. Will Banfield, you mentioned, guy that we knew last year, got to know a bit. Good defensive catcher, probably. He knows everything he needs to know about Louisville, and Will know there. But he got his feet wet in the big leagues last year. That's huge. One of the more interesting guys, Michael Chavis, a third baseman, has some big league time. He's got some power, but a lot of strikeouts. It's a guy that, could make it as an extra guy, or more likely is your third baseman opening day in Louisville, right?
Yeah. A good backup insurance piece.
Yeah. Hagen Donner's a right-hander. He decent walk to walk ratio. 2 years ago had a really nice ERA. Last year it was high, but Pacific Coast League, and that is always a thing. With him though, he is out of options, and that's a big deal, right? So there's that. Garrett Hampson.
And he can start or relieve too, right? Like he's got both.
Yeah. And so that is good. Garrett Hampson is a guy that was up here last year. We know Garrett and where he is and what he does. Utility guy. Got picked up right away when the Reds DFA'd him. It's one of those guys that is going to have a job for a while. Not a steady one. He'll be bounced around a couple times in a couple places.
Yeah.
Lyon Richardson he got DFA'd, and I thought somebody might pick him up, but maybe I'm higher on Lyon than a lot of people, and I think it's great for the Reds, and I think the Reds are very happy to get Lyon back.
Yeah, sometimes it's kind of like just, hey, we're going to DFA this guy. Let him go, and we'll do you a favor next time. Do you think? I mean, that's what we've always thought. Like when
it can happen. We've seen that before, and so it's tough. Carson Spires is in rehab, so he's coming back from a TJ. So this gets to both of us had guys we kind of want to spotlight, and I will let you go first so I can stop talking and people stop listening to me. But lefty, 25-year-old Joel Valdez. 25, yeah, sorry.
Yeah, I love hearing you talk, Trent. It's great. So, the reason I picked Valdez, there might be 0 chance that he makes the team, or there might be like a lot higher percentage because of the fact that he's a lefty. As of today, I think there's only one lefty that's penciled in for the bullpen, Caleb Ferguson. So this is a guy who dominated Double-A, and I know people say Double-A is Double-A, but I feel like Double-A at times could be harder than Triple-A because you've got these prospects there that are just out there swinging. They haven't really figured it out yet. They're trying to figure it out, but they're good ball players. The Triple-A players sometimes are those that possibly are up and down, the 4A players, basically. But you look at what he did in 45 innings. He gave up 1 home run in Double-A last year.
Yeah, he's a ground ball pitcher. That's pretty exciting. I mean, that's what you want. A lefty does that. And it was like, 9 appearances in AAA? Your first 9 appearances, that's why you get called up at the end of the year, just so it's not new.
Exactly. So now that if he does start at AAA, he's can feel like I've already been in AAA for a bit. Maybe I can be a little more comfortable. But if he goes out and has a lights out spring, Trent, I mean, they could say, hey, we need another lefty in this pen. We can't just go with one. We tried it last year. We need a little extra help. Who knows? But I think, if there's a sleeper, this is the guy for me.
Yeah. So my sleeper would be Michael Toglia, who was designated for assignment by the Rockies, picked up by the Reds. He's a switch hitter, left-handed, so he's first base, outfield. This is a guy that, it's funny, Danny, I was looking at him at the trade deadline as maybe a guy that could fit sort of in that spot. He's a switch hitter. His career splits are pretty even. Last year, he was much better against lefties. And he's a 3 true outcomes guy. Like that's it. He has a 25 homer season in the big leagues. That leads the Reds last year,
Right.
So like what I love to do is go to Baseball Savant. And one of the things with Baseball Savant is you see pretty easy. Red is good, blue is bad. This is why the Reds were able to get Michael Toglia. Not a lot of, qualifications, so he didn't get enough playing time for a lot of these to run in and get it. But if you look at 2004, and remember, red good, blue bad, that's a lot of red.
That is a lot of red.
You're talking about a guy who extreme walk rate and strikeout rate. He's in the bottom 3 percentile of whiff percentage, or the 4th percentile of strikeout rate, but 92nd in walk. So, and then you look at those sliders; those are all those power numbers. Those are all pretty far to the right. I mean, those are certainly to the right. I mean, like fascists almost. So that's good in this context. And so, does it mean he's going to be great? No. Does it mean there's a shot? Yeah. I mean, like, there are guys all the time. Like last year, that was Austin Hayes, and he was a pretty good pickup. But the biggest thing was, could he stay healthy? That was the biggest question, and that was the biggest question afterwards too. I remember when Christian Walker was one of these older guys that came into camp with the Reds several years ago before he had his breakout.
Yeah.
And it was a guy that you had known and you had seen and had kind of been around, but didn't make the squad as an NRI, got on somewhere else, and then was made plenty of money. Tyler Naquin. They're guys every year like this. And I think that is what we look at this time of year, is who could be that guy.
Yeah, and all those red lines from 2024, he may, just with a change of scenery, and I know it's a cliche in this game, but a change of scenery could do him some good. So now, forget last year, maybe he has these red lines all over Baseball Savant again,
Yeah.
But like you said, it doesn't cost anything. It's just trying to find lightning in a bottle again. And like you said, everybody finds it.
Yeah, you hope so. Those guys are always around. Well,
Yep.
So what we do have next after this is Redsfest this weekend with special guest Danny Graves. I see that in all the advertising.
You do? Well, I need some people that with some extra bobbleheads of mine to bring some, and we can like make a trade or something.
Yeah, I need one too.
I can't find any more bobbleheads. That the Hall of Fame says they're out, and I just don't know where to get any.
I got one place I can send you, but they don't pay me, so I will tell you off air.
Okay.
But if anybody does want to
place
sponsor us, if anybody does want to sponsor us, you could email us at riverfrontterritory@gmail.com. Or if you just want to call, send an email, complain. Well, not complain. If you want to
don't do that.
You have questions or comments, you can email us at riverfrontterritory@gmail.com. If you want to complain, Danny, what's your number again?
See Trent Rosecrans
Yeah.
yeah. We don't like complaints, but if you need to complain, we can
Just put it in the title. Put it in the subject line, and we won't read it, but you'll feel better that you didn't. And like it serves us both. You get it out, and we're there. We're not. I'm going to be honest. If it says complaint, actually, I will read. I will try not to read, but then I would read. I would read.
Yeah.
I would read anything labeled complaint before I read anything labeled compliment.
Yeah, I think I would too. I can't just not let it be known what somebody said.
So yeah. So anyway, I am excited to see you in person this weekend.
I am so excited too, dude.
Yeah, and so hopefully, if you are at Redsfest, say hi. Myself or Danny, if you're listening, and tell your friends. Riverfront Territory is part of the Foul Territory Network. Please subscribe on YouTube or wherever you get your podcast. Please rate and review us. 5 stars would be really, really nice.
Yeah, it would.
But we'll take it. So, yeah. I mean, I'm delicate. I'm a delicate flower. Danny is,
I am too.
Yeah. So, alrighty. So until then, for next time, or next
See you
time.
live.
Until then, next time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nobody's listening anyway.
See ya.
See ya.